this fly. Yeah, well, this one I don't know. Do I have to embellish? Because I usually tell the truth. I'm one of those weird fishermen. I actually don't, stretch it too much. Yeah, do you? All right. All right, so basically everybody got a white thread. The main thing to this is just to tie a nice even shank. You don't want bumps. And when you start it up behind the eye like a hook length, and then nice and even, and it will go neat. If you have clumps and bumps, it doesn't go real well. So you just start your thread just behind the eye, just like that, and just kind of be even. And I usually just go back about a hook eye, because I like to keep them thin. I don't like a bulky dude. So I'm just gonna go there, and then I'm gonna start the super hair, and I'm gonna go back and then forward. So I'm just gonna tie one, right? I'm just tying one? Yep. Is that what's happening?
Tie one.
All right, cool. So you take the super hair, just take it on there on an angle like that, kind of loosely, and then I pull on it. I actually put my finger like that and put a little crank on it to keep it nice and even so they're just right beside each other. So I'm actually putting a little crank on it. The most important wrap's right here at the end, because you want that tight, so once you turn this, it's not going to turn and pull the body, and you just keep that nice and even, like that. And when I get up here, I lift those, kind of bind them up so they cut kind of straight up. Am I blocking the light when I do that?
You're doing great.
All right, now here's the trick. When you do it, you kind of wet them, but you put a crank on them. And if you put a little crank, the first turn is the most important. You go around, and sometimes if they don't line up, I take my nail and I just jam those 3 cords together. But all you're gonna do is just get it started. Once you get it started, that first one's key. If it doesn't line up, you take your nail and bite it. But once it goes really smooth. And you sometimes leave that little vein. Oops, see, I have a bump. I have one that didn't lay a lot. So you can always go back. I shouldn't have clipped my nails, Dave. I didn't want to shock y'all. All right, there we go. But the main thing is when you start. If you get it started smooth like that, it just flows. There it is. And it makes that cool segmentation. It's kind of funny because, see the 18, it's a little big. Okay. Does that look all right up there? Does it look like it's segmenting?
Yeah, it looks good.
Can you see that okay? All right, and then just keep your tension there and go around. Back it up a little bit where you're gonna build the thorax, and then go underneath, and I just finish it off.
White's showing through on the segmentation?
That's actually what I do on the 18s. Yeah, that's okay. On the little guys, I don't like that. I like to keep them tight, but the 18's a little big for. 20's my favorite. So you actually cut the thread, everything off, and we're gonna go back in with gray thread. There's my gray thread. And so you just go back in and start. Am I good to go?
Yeah, you're good.
Start your gray thread just like that. And whenever you do that cut, I always take the thread like that and go behind it, because I don't like that cut to lay back on the body. So it's just straight across, and then I'm going to cover that anyway, A little jittery, but not bad. So the foam, I don't know if you can see that. I just cut it little pieces like that, just in tandem, just off the sheet. And I do try to keep them small, because the thinner they are, the better it seats in the film. If you do them too wide, that thing has a hard time popping upright. The whole key to this fly is to get it to pop like a suspender. And so a little piece of foam goes a long ways, a little thinner. And all you can do is tie it on like a thorax, just like a little thorax. You're gonna tie it right on there, and you just barely cusp it at the head like that.
Is that 2 millimeters?
It's 2 millimeter, yeah. And you just kind of bind it down like that. And there's 2 ways I tie this. On the little ones, I omit this. I don't fold it over. I just tie it on forward and then take that little pooch in the back and cover it with dubbing and bind it down, because they sit better in the film. So the dubbing is just a mix of muskrat with a little UV, gray, and almost nothing. But it's kind of critical to the fly, because you want it to sodden. Once that thorax soddens, it actually helps it sit in the film. So once you get a fish to eat it, that helps it, because then it pops every time. But actually, this fly came about fishing lakes. I used to fish lakes in February with midges, because I plumbed for 8 years, and that's how I came up with this fly. Was just fishing these nasty little midge sippers, you know, back when nobody did. Now it's kind of big on the Provo. Anyway, little dubbing, hardly anything, just a very bare minimum. And all you can do is start it by the eye, go back, and then forward. So I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to go right here at the head first, and then work it back, and then kind of in the middle, just so I cover that. Nice little ball, nice little thorax. And then you just take your thread, whoops, forward here, get it up by the eye, and all you can do is crank this over. You crank this, whoops, oh Lord, did that just happen? Hang on. I broke my phone. I don't think that's ever happened. That's freaking awesome. Well, that'll test your nerves, so we'll do it real quick. Anybody missed that? Holy crap. All right, so same thing. Yeah, we'll edit that out, right, Dave?
That never happens to me. No, actually, that's going to make our blooper reel.
There you go.
Great.
So same thing, just tying it on there. At least I got the dubbing on there, right? And it's just a little bit. And maybe I went too thin. Maybe you need to do them thicker so they don't break. And just cover that up. I recovered well though, right?
Oh yeah.
All right.
That's what's key.
Yeah, that's it. Don't panic.
Not that this ever happens.
And then you pull that over, kind of tight. I like that tight. And all I ever do is go like that. And what I actually do a lot is I'll just half hitch it once, and then I'll do a whip finish on top, and I'll be done. But I like to just keep it tight, so I usually just do a quick little half hitch underneath, and just zip it up there like that. And then pop it, and then I'll cut it, because now nothing's gonna lose its, and I cut it at a slight angle, just barely like this way. Just a slight angle, and I actually like it taller. I think people don't leave enough. Do a kind of an angle like that. And that might be a little much, so just a slight angle like that. That's perfect. It's about the length of the abdomen, I think. I think a lot of times in that, they don't care, but it's important that you can see it, because it sits low, you know, and that you want to see that. Then all I do is a whip finish over the top, right like that. And if you want to, always do that pop, right, Dave? Pull it from the back, get that pop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I do 2 3s. I'm kind of superstitious. I like odd numbers and 3s, double 3, like that. But that's Bob. That works on fish that are just annoying, you know. But you got to get it to ride right. And actually, I used to use it as just a visual for little teeny midges. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think so. I just need my piece of foam. You're just gonna take a 2 millimeter piece of foam, like same thing, 2 millimeter, but cocoa or cinnamon. And you're gonna cut it. You're just gonna cut it about the length of that gap. That's a good gauge, just the width of the gap, or the gape, whatever. All right, so here we go. Yeah. So actually, what I do on this fly, you can do it now or you can do it later. I actually put the front antennas on usually first, right off the bat. They don't really get in your way, but if it bugs you, wait till mid-step. But I build a little hump. So all you do is build a little hump right at the front, and all that's going to do is divide these little fine rubber legs. And you can go both ways. You can actually just come underneath like that, or you can just go right on top. I prefer on top because I like to angle it. And the little rubber legs, they're not bad to work with, but they have a mind of their own sometimes. So you just go like that on an angle, just light thread wraps, and then all you're gonna do is fold that guy back on himself, just like that, and kind of tweak it. And I'm gonna actually just cut that. And you want them flayed like that, and you want them that long. That's what makes this fly so cool. When it sits on the water, those legs just go, they move. And I do it on my caddis all the time on the longhorns, like this. Yeah. Anyway, so, and it's all thread pressure. If I go here now, because we're gonna take foam all the way to the head, you got to be delicate with your wraps. Because if I crank, I'm gonna move these, right? So you kind of get them in position. Those are fine. I'm gonna go back now. So now we're gonna do the same thing on the back. And you can fix these. There's ways to fix them later. But you can omit that till closer to the end. You don't have to do it right now. All right. So the dubbing, to me, is critical. The plain Antron works fine, but I like to put some natural in it and kind of make it buggier. Where's my dub? But this good old ginger antron stuff is just wicked, and when it's wet, it looks so cool. But you want some natural with it to kind of break it up. So I just like Kaufman's stone, or just a golden brown, or just some rabbit. But you'll see it, you know, it's one of the few flies I've had someone pick it up and go, holy shit, have you seen this wet? Like, yeah, you know, it looks cool. It just looks, it's got all those colors in it, and it fishes really well. It's, you know, to me, dubbings are key. So you just need a fair amount. Kind of hand mix it real quick with the natural. And I'm just going to put a little dub on the back for my tail. Because same thing, we're going to do a little rubber tail on the back. But I always add a little red dub because most stones bleed out through their butt, you know, and that little, it's always redder. But this dubbing, for some reason, just, it has that in it. I mean, you don't really need to do it at all. So we're just going to do a little ball right at the back. And all that is a little dubbing for this back rubber to bite into, because you want it a little splayed, a little more different. Rubber legs. Any idea? So sometimes I go thicker. Like this is so thin that you can go thicker on your back. You can go like a small. That's not a problem. And in a darker color. But we all got small, right? Except for me. There it is. Stuff hides. All right. So same thing. All we're going to do is lay this on a side just like a Prince or whatever, but it's going to move a little bit. And it's always light thread pressure. Just kind of go kind of light like this. Miss the hook like that, and just lightly over the dub so that butt just sticks out like that. And we're going to fold it again. That way if it's pulled out, not a problem. You know what I mean? Because you know, if you can ever fold stuff on itself, do it. Just like that. And then there's the little tail. And I'm just going to grab, where's my good scissors? Anyway, just kind of go in here now and even them up. These back ones are going to be shorter. Like that. And you can fix that pressure. Like that guy's a little too far out. I don't really dig that. I might come in and just put a little pressure on him right there. Bring him in a little bit if I can. And I'm just going to cover that up with dub anyway. So, anyone see my good scissors? What the hell? I got me using my foam cutters. There they are. Those are them. Yeah, those ones. That's right. All right, so here we go. This is the fun part. This is where it gets cool. So, I didn't really get all my stuff ready for this, Dave. I'm sorry. Okay. So all I need is the orange legs will come in handy here in a second. Anybody know
legs right here?
Are they hiding? Gosh, dang it, there they are. Okay.
Hey, rotate that vice
What's this
so you
then?
can see that.
Okay, so now you have your foam.
Rotate the vice so you can see top.
Rotate the vise?
Yeah, so we see it from top. There you go. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So here's our foam, and usually I'll cut it later, but all you do is take your crappy scissors, and I do kind of an angle, just an angle cut on the so it's kind of got like a stone wing, you know, just slightly. And if you don't want to get around your legs and cut them later, you can do this. But usually I'm too long and I'm going to recut it anyway, right? But we use the same dub. We're just going to dub this body, and I usually start about there. Same thing. We're just going to dub it on there a little thicker, and we're going to go back forward, right? And a little thicker because this stuff's going to bite into itself, and it's a stone, so it's got a little chunk to it. But it's a littler stone. This is like a little Sally or a little golden. But you're going to start right there, and you're just going to work it back. Nice and light, you know, that light, not really roped dubbing, but light so it bites into itself. And keep it tight, like that. And then if it ever comes undone, I'm just going to go kind of slightly over that back. And the buggier the better. And you can see how that's just that wicked kind of orange-red, how stones bleed color. And I didn't put much to coarse it up, so it's not really critical. Okay, so now your Z-long comes into play. And that's why I like the yellow thread, because if you mess up, it's awesome because it's like that light yellow Sally color. So here's our Z-long. And I've mixed it up. I kind of wet it, kind of kink it out if it's a little thick, but all you can do is tie it on like a spent wing. You're going to tie it on just like this, right on top. Kind of a little off to the side, but just barely. And then you're just going to bring it up here and you're going to fold it back on itself, just like that. And And for now, we're gonna leave it a little long. And then we're gonna take our foam, we're gonna go right over that. Now, I mean, we can cut that wing right now because it's gonna kinda, ooh, my body turned? What happened? My tail's all wigged out. Okay. Now, it's gonna be, you know, a wing's probably like a little gape distance off the back, so, but this stuff stretches, so if you pull it tight, air long, don't do it short, and about right here. And that's actually more than I'd like. I'd like that wing thinner. That's a little thick, but it's no big deal. So now we're just gonna lay the foam down. Just gonna lay this foam right over this, like that, about halfway between that tail and the back. You want it hanging off, equidistance, kind of cup it, like that. Kind of go loose wrap, just kind of loose. Come forward a little bit, bite. I always lift and grab the shank. I like to adhere it. And then I'm gonna sneak that back. Sneak that back like that, kind of clean it up, bite it. Go underneath, grab it, bite it. And what's really kind of cool, that wing is way too much under there, I hate that. But a little thinner would be great. So what it's gonna do is that's gonna compress later, and then this wing's gonna be like a little spent wing. So there we are. Now we're gonna do the elk hair. Thin sparkle done hair is typically what I use. Just a good thin hair. Stacker.
Right here.
Oh, perfect, got it. So just some thin hair like you'd use on a sparkle done. You don't want like big coarse hair. You want thin deer hair or something, just like a X-Caddis, sparkle done, perfect. And we're gonna do a thin wing of elk. And when we push it back, it's gonna splay as well. So it's kind of like a spent wing out kind of fly, but it floats like a cork. So we're just gonna take a little wing. It's gonna haunt me, Dave, that heavy Zelon underneath there.
I can tell.
It's already bugging me.
It's already a problem.
Yeah, but not really, but it is. We can thin it. All right, so just stack a little bit, just a little pinch like you do on like a size 18 sparkle, not a ton. Whoops. I think I left hair in there. I think I didn't finish a stack at some point. That's kind of funny. All right, so you just stack a little bit, and you're gonna do this actually shorter. You're not gonna take it all the way to the back. You're just gonna put a pinch right here, about equal distance, a little shorter than that actual wing, okay? And we're gonna pop that on there. Just a nice little kind of a loose, and then we're gonna flare it kind of hard. We're just gonna go through that stuff and grab it, because we're gonna clean it up and we're gonna cover it anyway. And I'm sliding. Okay, can everyone see that all right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that. If it moves on you like mine's doing, and I just kind of, a lot of times I just go down between like that, and we're just going to get rid of this stuff. We're just going to make a mess and just get all that stuff kind of out of there real fast. And this is why you can omit putting this at the front, because you could cut them right now. But you could, in fact, tie them on right now, you know what I mean? Before we bind this down. But I like to get them out of the way. What the heck? See, I could cut my antenna right now. Okay, cool. So now, okay, all you're gonna do is go up and bind that a little bit. So it doesn't, you know, you're just folding it on itself. I'm not tying this really clean, but I haven't tied one in a while. So now, lift up, sneak up a little bit, and then you're gonna grab a little more of that foam, and we're gonna make a little bullet head with the foam. And we're just gonna bind that down, but we don't want it, and you can always pull back to see where these legs are, you know what I mean? You don't wanna go too far, but you can see where they're at. So I'm gonna go forward a little bit, and right behind here, and I'm gonna grab a little more of that foam. And now, the front is actually light yellow UV ice stub, and I like a little bit, not a lot, and that's why I like the yellow thread, because I like it to bleed through like it's a Pell thorax, almost just a really light yellow. And then we'll have a band of yellow as well. So here we go. Where is my yellow ice stub? This seemed like a good spot, didn't it?
You want some?
Yeah, sure. I should be able to find mine eventually.
Here you go.
All right, perfect. That's all you need. Yep, a little light yellow. And hardly any. I mean, you're just going to put a little bit on there. and you just like to let the thread bleed through. The other thread I like is like a rusty brown, because it bleeds through kind of nice for a darker stone in that variety. Rusty brown thread's actually awesome. I use that sometimes. Certain canyons you go in and the stones are like 4 different colors. There's dark ones, light ones. Tan's great. So come up here right behind the eye, and all we're doing is building a little thorax, and it's more of a ball towards the front. We want to leave a little bit of a space where we're going to build up threads, so you can bring it back a little bit more to the front like that. And we're going to leave our thread right here, okay? Now we're just going to take this baby back. If everything worked out right, we're just going to pull it down nice and tight, put a wrap on it. Nice bullet head. Whoops, my legs aren't doing what they want. Kind of bind it tight, kind of like we did before, but not too crazy tight. Whoops, getting some hair as well. Let's get my legs. And you can create memory like that. That's not a bad thing. Like, get some memory in it before you do it instead of just crank it. Now you bad scissors again, and we're going to cut this kind of short, but not too short, about the length of the bullet head, about right there. And what that does is it flays that whole wing out. See how it just spread it out? Now it's like a spent, and it's going to give it good balance. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to clip these. I don't want it that much. So I'm going to clip some of these, clean it up. And my antenna, I bind my antenna and nobody told me. Holy crap.
I didn't quite catch it. Thought maybe.
Yeah, no, I caught it. So we're going to grab the antenna and bring it back out. Good heavens.
It's a little hard to see.
Yeah, no, I didn't even see that. I'm focused so much on my wing. But see how that's spread out?
Yeah.
And it's like a spent stone. And so what you do is, typically I try to keep those antrons more on the back so I can just tease them out slightly so you get a contrast between the wing. But there's no problem there. And then this is it. We're almost done. It's not that bad. It actually ties nice. Once you do it a few times, it ties really clean. So see how that you can get that yellow? See that yellow? Oh, we got hair under there. Wow. You guys seeing all this?
Every bit of it in high definition.
Oh shit. I'm in trouble. I'm tying like a amateur. All right, here we go. Okay, there you go. So you can just clean these up. I usually go in every time and clean that up anyway like that. Get rid of some of these off the side. Okay, is that looking better? A little bit?
That'll fish.
Yeah, and it lands right. That's why we're using the Nymph hook, because every time you put it, if you land it this way, it's going to turn over. It'll turn over right every time. So all we're going to do is put the legs on for the good imprint. So the orange legs off the side, and we'll do a little cider. Boy, I hacked that one. My next one will be better. So I like to take this top piece, and I actually will cut angle these two top things, because I find it's a little more aerodynamic without that flat thing in the wind. So I actually cut that top thing like that. And we're almost done. This is the one I was going to tie last night just so I could warm up, because okay. Look okay, Dave, or am I kidding myself? Okay. Now all we're going to do is do 2 legs out the side right in that little spot. And that's good for balance, and fish dig it. And you can leave them as long as you want or whatever. Basically just going to go right on top like that, go right between that little space and tie the legs on. And then I just kind of ease them down until they're underneath. If you put a little pressure there, you can bring it in. And then we'll clip them and they should be about right. Yeah, you can go thicker on your legs on the back. And sometimes I leave these really long, but I like my front ones a little shorter. Like that. But it's just a great little floating dude. You can do them little and big. If I'm warmed up, I can do these in 20s. It's my part-time pirate. It works really good on the little stones, like on Fish Creek, those little teeny sallies. And And all you do is put the legs in on that good old imprint. That's the best imprint. That little cross. You're just tying them in. If you know, rubber legs are awesome because if you want them to stick out more, you just put more pressure that way. You know, if you want them to come in like that, so you can just toy with them until you get them right where you want them. If you want it to go down that way, come inside the leg. That's why I like the thin wire. See that? I just pulled that out. So depending on where you want them, get them set where you want them and do some wraps. There's Dave's ring. It's a beaut. Anyway, my front antennas aren't where I'd like them. I didn't go as much as I could, but they're okay. Now you're going to clip this guy, kind of even up your legs. And you can keep them as long as you want. It's really just a good imprint and a good balance thing. And then all you do is take a little orange foam. This will actually set it down a little better too. And you can go 2 millimeter, whatever. Whoa, what do I got going on? Do I got something on that side? I should look up at the screen. What's this weird thing? That shows up really good. So you just cut a little piece, and this will lay it down a little bit. It's just your cider so you can see it a little better because it sits low in the water. You're just going to put it right on top. Right up here, right on top. You're just going to go right through the heart and kind of crank that down. And not get your legs like that. And then you're gonna clip this front one really short and leave that about right here. And then you just whip finish it. Put a whip on it and you're done.
It doesn't make it top heavy?
Oh heavens no. It's why we're using that big nymph hook underneath. It's gonna kill it right every time. When you throw it, you could land it upside down and it will land right every time. And this truly is unsinkable. It floats like crazy. And if you look how cool the bottom is, if you didn't overdo your Zelon wing and goof it all up, the bottom's really cool. You get that contrast. So you get that bleedy in the back and then you get that cool yellow in the front. And I got to get rid of that. Look, oh, that's my antenna. I can't cut that.
Don't cut that.
Yeah, that's my antenna. But usually I like my antennas a little closer, you know. But that's fine. They're gonna lay on the water and jiggle. But that's how you. That's it. It's actually ties really nice. Now that I'm warmed up, I might do a really nice one. But that's the stone, more or less. Cool. All right.
You're on.
I'm on. Okay. Same thread, the light yellow thread if you got it, in the 8/0.
What size hook are we going?
So a size 14 nymph hook. Yep.
Yeah.
You just,
I have this one.
so
Natural thing.
typically, I like to put a little lead at the head.
No?
I don't even know if I brought any. I just like to build my taper first, but I didn't put this in it. I like to put like 5 wraps of little .015 lead at the head.
I think I've got some with me here, Sam.
Cool. I have some. I just didn't even think about that, but I like to build my taper beforehand.
What do you got going?
Wow.
Need more light. Okay. So it's not critical, but I like a taper, so just a few wraps of lead builds a nice little taper at the head. If you got it in some fine sizes, a little bit of lead, because that just takes care of it. You don't have to do any sit there and wrap, because you got, plus it gives a little weight. I like that. So the tail is Coq de Leon, but
Probably too heavy.
you can use partridge. Either one will work.
I've got some
Need my good
flat.
scissors again, Dave.
Flat lead tape.
Did I leave them somewhere?
There
There they go. Thank you. I'm flailing.
You have a lot
So this
of
is
common
the
with
general,
Dennis.
right?
No, don't say that.
He knows people like just falling around.
Oh, I like him. I did,
I
you
love
know.
him.
Yeah. Okay, so you're just gonna. All I do is build the taper at the front with a little lead, coming back to the back, and we're gonna tie a Coke tail, and we're just gonna flay it, kind of flay it out. I like Coke because it's just it's bulletproof and translucent. So you just got to get it even. You kind of put a little turn to it like that. Get a nice little clump and keep it straight. Grab a little thing like that. Cut it.
What is that?
Coke de Leon. Actually, Coq de Leon. But in the store, you know, if women are present, we call it Coke. If they're not, you can, whatever works. But it's more proper. I goof that one up.
Yeah, but you're gonna get the wrong people buying it if you call it
Well,
Coke.
Coq de Leon. It's a cool bird. It's a cool bird that Whiting kind of brought over and developed. And it's on all the check nymphs. They put these for the tails. I use it a lot for dries. I mean, it's just awesome. I use it on my drakes. I just use it on everything. On my little Baetis. It's translucent, but it's not like pheasant tail or partridge. You get a few fish, you lose it. It's bulletproof. So all you can do is do a little tail, you know, like the size, half the shank, kind of a little shorter tail. Keep it thin, and I'm going to flay it. So I'm going to actually just lift that and bring my thread underneath and kind of get it to flay out a little bit if I can. Just want it kind of splayed. That's the term, right? Splayed. Splay the tail. Then you're going to bring this up, keep it kind of level. So I just bring it up to where my weight was, and then cut it. And the body's pretty simple. It's just like a little flashback. We're just going to use that little Swiss straw or medallion sheeting if you had it. And we're just going to tie this in with a copper wire, and then the dubbing, and we'll pretty basic nymph until we get to the head. So just copper wire. You're going to tie that baby on, and I like to keep it thin, so I'm going to tie it right here and stop. And then I'm going to bring my Swiss straw in that amber color, and just kind of, it's a thin piece. You got to be careful because that stuff likes to rip. So you just lay it kind of nice and easy. And see, I didn't bring it back because I want to keep it skinny. So I'm just wrapped to there. And I'm going to unwrap it to here now because I know it's okay. And I'm going to add my dubbing. So the dubbing, to me, is critical. It's like Mercer's Lava Brown with a little bit of UV olive and a little bit of UV yellow, but it's really translucent. And it just looks, it's what I think makes this fly fish so good, but it's barely. I'm barely putting it on there, so it's almost translucent, but hardly any. And I like that yellow thread because it bleeds through and it looks like a pale belly on a little PMD nymph. But this is the ones that when they get adult, they're green. They're like really green and freaky. And if you ever run into them, you just don't have anything that green when they're eating on top. It's just nothing even close. But this nymph is amazing. It fishes really good for them. So just sneak that up. Now I'm just going to use those few wraps, sneak it back, and just keep it really thin, kind of buggy, just kind of tight but loose, and just dub it on up. And a little thicker right here. As we get thicker, maybe double back a little bit, and then just stop there. We're going to pull this little dude forward. See how cool that is? It's just really translucent, but that dub and this back. And be careful with the Swiss straw because it's delicate. Once we get the wire on it, no big deal. It can rip all at once. You see that back? Now copper wire, I always counter wrap everything. I'm really bad like that. So I'm just going to counter wrap straight up, straight down, so we don't pull that over. Just kind of wham the jammer. There you go. And then I go a few more times there at the head. And if you didn't have lead, you could just build it up with the wire air. You know, that's always a good thing. If it's never thick enough, you can just take a few more wraps with the wire and make it a little thicker. So get rid of that waist. And that's the abdomen right there. It's just really a little flayed tail of coke, nice little amber back, copper wire, and that cool translucent dubbing. Now the head, this is where it gets kind of weird. There's a few too many steps, but it's nice. I don't know if you've seen it, but on mayflies, they always have two little black buds that are back, and they're like that, and they're the first things that go dark. And it's sometimes what fish see, and it's what they key on. That's why I think this is why this fish is good. So that's what the black hollow's for, and we're gonna do two little wing buds. And I always put this stuff down, so it's not up in your way, you know, so I always tie it kind of down. Don't matter, because the second one's gonna be up, but you're gonna tie it in right kind of to that side on an angle, and you're gonna go forward, and then we're gonna take this guy and we're gonna flip him back, like that, and we're gonna tie them back like that. And so they're off to the side, just like little wing buds. And we're actually gonna fold those, make little dudes and bring them forward, and it's just gonna give this cool little imprint of 2 little brown wing pads turning. Okay, so there we are. Now, I love flashback, but it's really weak. So once I bring these back, and we can do that here. Yeah, actually, we might have to do it right now. Let's do it right now. So razor blade or just a bodkin or something to fold against is a good thing. I like a razor blade because it's even, as long as it doesn't cut anything. So I like to just take a blade in here and kind of use this like this, and I just take my finger, and I'm just going to come up here and I'm just going to fold that. I'm going to put an imprint of a fold, and that's kind of how I want it. See that little fold? Same thing, just it's kind of nice to have something to just fold it against, but you can tweak these. I used to do them down and then get my bodkin and tease them out. You can do that too, but I just like to get it kind of close, put a little imprint in it, bind that down like that. Now see, that one's way too long, so bodkin comes into play. You go in there and just tweak him back a little bit. There you go. So those are the wing buds. And it's so distinct on so many mayflies when they're emerging. Just that cool little, can you see that okay? Those little wing buds? All right. Now we're gonna clip those bad boys. Get rid of that stuff. If you're nervous, leave them. But make sure they're tight, because you know you could grab something and pull them out. It's known to happen. But kind of bind those down at the front. Just make sure you got some good tight wraps. Just like that. And that pale yellow, once again, is key. When we finish the thorax, it's just like the stone. We're going to use nothing, just a little bit, and you want that pale yellow to bleed through, because most PMDs, their bellies are just pale. There's like nothing there. There's just like... Anyway, so now this is the fun part. So you take this little unifloss, it's chartreuse, and then you take this fluorescent chartreuse crystal flash, and what I do, you just tie them on. It's going to be our split. This is where the wing case is actually splitting. And we're going to put that right on the thorax, just right in the heart, and we're going to bring that back. Now I always I like to lift my stuff. Lift it, and if you can fold it back, but that creates too much bulk, and just leave a little bud that you can bind down somehow, just so it's more locked. Okay, I'm using too many wraps. So now you use this little flashback, and why I like this is it actually holds this down, because this can be toothed real easy. I'm just going to tie that flashback down. And actually, the thing to do, because it is so weak, go in the middle and use 2 pieces, just in case it breaks on you. And it actually darkens it up too. It's a little thicker. So just fold it and fold it back like that, so you have 2 pieces. And now, a little bit of yellow, ice dub yellow. What do I do with it? It floated. There's the whole bag. Okay. We're just gonna add a little bit, almost nothing. I don't use dubbing wax too often. I just like to wet my fingers. I don't like matting my dubbing too much.
Little DNA.
That's right. Yeah, and then it's got your fishiness, right? So, and start closer to the head, and that's kind of rounded, so I probably should have built this up because it could slide, so if it's too much of an angle there. But I'm just going to do this very lightly, almost nothing. Just kind of cover that up, and then go back to the head. And now this is the trick. You can do it however you like, but a lot of times I'll switch my thread to a light olive at this point because I like the little green head. But I'm just going to do the legs kind of, is that a good one?
You take a green Sharpie at this point too and color your thread.
That's true. But yellow's great. Yellow fish is good. So I'm just going to use partridge at this point. I had a really good feather. What did I do with it? I'll just use this one. Okay, so, dang. Okay. So I like to tie my legs. I just switch. Now all my legs I tie on top, and then I take the flash to split them. I like them how they flay. I just do that a lot more than tying them, cutting a tip and putting them on, or side to side. It's just become something I like. I like to flay them. I think they look better. I'm gonna get this guy. I want a good feather. You can clip it. You can clip the feather. I just want a good feather, Dave. A longer one's easier to work
Is that
with.
dyed yellow?
So this is dyed gold. Yeah, I got it at Blue Ribbon. I couldn't get it for years. It's on a lot of my flies, so I conned Matthews to dye me 5 of them. And then I go up there and he has them on the wall. they weren't for sale. No, but it's a good one. Anyway, so I'm just gonna get the partridge and pretty straight. A
Have
good.
you ever, to inject a question here,
Mhm.
have you ever listened to him do a presentation?
I have.
Is it good?
He's really good. No, unbelievable.
Okay.
I
We're
love
gonna try
I
to
love
get-
Craig. I used to call him up in winter and just talk to him but now he's more or less involved with this ranch. You don't get him in the shop very often, but he's an awesome dude. I just think he's
Talk to him about
class.
coming down here next year.
Yeah, I think they had him not too long ago. So I actually would want more than that. I might have to do it the old-fashioned way, Dave. I don't have too many good feathers. Is this okay? Am I eating up space?
What feather are you?
Well, it's a partridge, but I don't have any long ones. I thought these were long, but it's better to have them long. I mean, normal partridge. It's just easier to work with to get a good clump. You know what I mean? I'm struggling to get a big clump on these little feathers. I just threw them in, but you want a good clump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it this other way because I can't get a good stretch. And I'm just going to clip it. I'm going to clip it right in the heart. Get rid of that little dude in the heart. I want them just straight. I actually would just like it all straight, one piece. You know what I mean? Like that. And put it right on top. That's what I'm going for. But I might have it. I just need enough. There we go.
Now, are these going to end up being the wings?
Yeah, so these are the front legs. And I like
Legs.
partridge for this. So we're just going to put it right on top, right here, right?
Okay.
Just like that. And you need enough. Why I need them long is the whole trick is you got to pull them. Because I'm not going to put them right where I want them off the bat. You know what I mean? So my wraps are light. They're very light, but I have to pull that little thing. So that's why I was like spending a little time there. But now I'm going to do is grab this guy. And sometimes a little teeny dude will help. Like grab your hackle plier and just grab your hackle plier and just kind of grab that dude right there. You know, the first time I did this, Dave, I did it with Jack Dennis.
Did you?
I did. I tied in public with Jack at a warehouse. And now all I do is take my bodkin, and I'm going to come up right here. I'm going to kind of get it in the middle. Right there. Whoops. I'm kind of shaking. I'm just going to splay these.
Am I making you nervous?
A little bit, but it's okay. I'm pretty calm, but I like how these splay. So I'm going to hurry and get a wrap on them. See that?
Oh, wow.
And then how they go right to the side. So that's ideally what I like to do. But now I got to keep that loose, because if I put too much crank, I won't be able to pull on this. And hopefully I can pull on it, because now I like to line them up. For me, they're a little long right now. So you just got to be able to grab that and pull on it.
Turn that 90 degrees, would you, so it's facing the camera.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
And I just like to line them up a little bit. So they're a little long, but I don't have a lot to pull there. But anyway, you get the idea, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what's important. So the longer feather helps. And that's going to drive me crazy. I like this side a lot. I don't like that guy right there. So he's going bye-bye. And I think I can live with that. So now what I'd do is I'd grab these, pull them up, and get underneath them so it doesn't block your eye, right? And kind of bind through there so it doesn't come undone. And now I'd clip this first one. And then I'm going to clip this garbage. Kind of keep it away from your eye. And then the second one, you'll cover up this little stuff, right? So now you grab the second one, bring it over, and that kind of helps a little bit, makes it a little cleaner. Bam, bam. Now this one I'll go a little forward and I'll bring it back so it's folded on itself. And now's the split.
So the first one is to display the fibers, the second is to cover.
Exactly. Now longer feather helps. I mean, I really struggled if I had a long feather there, but you can do it like I was saying, you could just cut it like the V out and put it right on top like that and do the tip of the feather as well. And then you have the stem to pull, which is what I should have done in retrospect. But now you take these two things and you just twist them together. So you're twisting these two materials together to get it stronger. You're going to take this down as the split right down the heart. that green split case, and you're just going to do it hard. You want a good hard bite, right? And now you're going to build that up and go back, and then you definitely want to then take this guy and fold him back like that. And then you're going to have a nice strong head, yellow in this case. Light olive would be a little better. We're just going to clip him short. And then what that does is that strengthens that flash, so it's not going to come undone. But it's also that cool, bright split. And then you got those wing buds, which is, I think, all that matters. But it's a fun one. It's a good fishy dude.